We've got this one's talking about Arcadia, DeSoto County, the Peace River. There's a collection of poems by Carol Mahler, How Do I Follow? And this is a publication of the Peace River Press, of the Peace River Center for Writers at Edison State College. And this goes along with our theme to some extent. It has to do with the title of it. Well, I'll let it speak for itself. Lambing in Florida. Hermes, god of Arcadia, boundaries, animal husbandry, and travelers. The inventor of mathematics, gymnastics, and the lyre. Hermes, ancient god of boundaries, this pasture in Arcadia feels as safe as your Arcadia, cut off by mountains on every side. Although the country here stretches flat and green, eucalyptus trees hem the field to the east along the creek. Squat pines planted some years back fence the west. Oak trees mark the ditches, north and south. Did you invent mathematics among the sheep? This year, the sum of 1 ram and 4 ewes is 4 lambs, though only 3 ewes gave birth and 1 twin lamb died the first day out. Did you imagine gymnastics as you watch such new ones gambol after mothers or splay front legs at 1 week old to suck a tit? And your lyre, linen cords strung through drilled holes in a tortoise shell, did it ever sound more comforting than hawks keening in the distance, the cardinal's clicks and flutters in the trees? Even the vulture seems blessed by you, ancient god of travelers, as it arcs in the pure blue that reaches straight into space, where, looking up, I remember what I've known all along. The top has been blown out of this pastoral by all the unbreathable blackness out there. Hunger, torture, war, and worse. There are no boundaries anymore. There are no boundaries anymore. Well, how did these boundaries crumble so? You know what that is. That's Columbus. Well, what was Columbus up to back in 1492? Columbus. Let's think about Columbus for a little bit. In A Short History of Latin America by Keene and Wasserman, which was published in 1980. It was a book I used at the University of Florida in the history department. It talks about the voyages of Columbus. Without getting too far in, the search for a sea road to the Indies inspired more than one solution. If some believed that the route around Africa offered the answer to the Eastern riddle, others favored sailing due west across the Atlantic. This view had the support of an eminent authority, the Florentine scientist Paolo Toscanelli, who in 1474 advised the Portuguese to try the western route as shorter than the one which you were pursuing by way of Guinea. This letter came to the attention of an obscure Italian seafarer, Christopher Columbus, who had been reflecting on the problem and helped to confirm his belief that such a passage from Europe to Saipagu, Japan, and Cathay, China, would be easy. This conception rested on a gross underestimate of the Earth's circumference and an equal overestimate of the size and eastward extension of Asia. Since all educated Europeans believed that the world was round, the question never entered into the dispute between Columbus and his opponents. The main issue was the extent of the ocean between Europe and Asia, and on this point, opposition was right. For Columbus, the idea of reaching the east by sailing west acquired all the force of an obsession, a figure of transition from the dying Middle Ages to the world of capitalism and science, a curious combination of mystic and practical man. Columbus became convinced that God himself had revealed to him that it was feasible to sail from here to the Indies, and placed in me a burning desire to carry out his plan. So we've been reading from that, from his first voyage, from the Log of Columbus, or what purports to be the Log of Columbus, because the original manuscripts were lost early on. But so we're in the middle in ours to talk about the first part. But Columbus returned to Hispaniola at the end of 1493 with a fleet of 17 ships. So his second voyage had 17 ships, not 3, carrying 1,200 people, most of them artisans and peasants, and a sprinkling of caballeros, hidalgos, and other men of worth, drawn by the fame of gold and other wonders of that land. The American reality frustrated the hopes of Columbus and the sovereigns for an orderly settlement of the land. The settlers soon gave themselves up to gold hunting and preying on the Indians. So, and actually, Columbus made a couple other trips, still gripped by his illusion. Columbus continued to dream of finding a western way to the land of spices, and he was allowed to make one more voyage, his last one, the most difficult and disastrous of all. He was now convinced that between the mainland he had recently discovered and the Malay Peninsula shown on ancient maps, there must be a